Now, with the sound of the shofar, the march will begin.
As you see, the march is just departing from Auschwitz. As I mentioned earlier, you just saw the blowing of the shofar, which is a very meaningful ancient Jewish musical ceremony. We're watching Holocaust survivors. We're watching dignitaries. There will be students. They're holding banners. That placard that young man is holding up, they're given out to participants at the very beginning, and they write meaningful messages that they put into the earth on the way as they make their way to Birkenau. You'll see many of those later on that people plan to ride along the train tracks. There's the banner, the official banner, International March of the Living, 2026. Here are some of the students who come from around the world to take part. As I mentioned a short time ago, at its core, the International March of the Living is an educational program to educate the third and fourth generation of survivors and the Jewish public about the Holocaust. Again, it's solemn and yet joyous. It's celebrating the continuation of Jewish life. Many people are adorned with the Israeli flag. As we say in Hebrew, Am Yisrael Chai. The Jewish people will live. As we continue, you will see other banners of various groups. Right now, we're looking at a special delegation I will talk about a little bit later. Those were law enforcement officers who come from around the world to participate because they're at the forefront of fighting anti-Semitism and other acts of terror against the Jewish people. A delegation from Brazil. People will be carrying their own national flag, as well as the Israeli flag. We see the United Kingdom. Again, the route that they will take is 3.2 kilometers between the Auschwitz main camp and Birkenau. The same exact route that the prisoners at that time were taking. There's a survivor, obviously. There's more of the placards where people are marking their own special message to leave behind. The vow of never again should there be a Holocaust or an attempted genocide against the Jewish people. For many people, it's very, very emotional and really hard to be here. And yet again, we still have the underlying message of hope. And it's a joyous celebration. As fewer Holocaust survivors are able to be with us, as I've mentioned, with the passing of each year, their participation becomes even more critical. Their presence here is a testament to their miraculous and enduring resilience.
We, the Holocaust survivors, are rapidly diminishing.
Israel, I.
This Yom HaShoah, the Jewish Holocaust Remembrance Day, many survivors want to march at the International March of the Living in Auschwitz. They need your help. To sponsor a survivor on the March of the Living, go to motl.org.
Please consider donating. Your help can go a very long way towards supporting survivors' presence here at the March next year. You can do so by going to www.motl.org/support-survivors. Since the horrific Hamas terror attacks of October 7th, 2023, when 1,200 people were massacred in Israel, we've seen a surge of global hatred against the Jewish people on a scale that has not been witnessed since the Holocaust. Sylvan Adams, who is the president of the World Jewish Congress Israel, a second-generation Holocaust survivor, is now marching alongside a delegation of people who survived deadly anti-Semitic shooting attacks that claimed the lives of 20 Jews in the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia over the past year.
This is called the March of the Living, and we honor our journey. We honor the survivors, of course, but we don't want to fall into the trap of victimhood. We are proud Jews, and I tried to tell them to hold their heads up high, especially in the face of the anti-Semitism that we're seeing, this unprecedented since the Holocaust, frankly, and that they have to stand up for who they are proudly as proud Jews.
Now, you had your own very unfortunate experience this past year related to your ownership of the Israel cycling team. What happened?
So we were targeted, and this is part of the problem. This anti-Semitism that we are facing, this isn't random. There are nefarious foreign actors led by Iran and the Muslim Brotherhood, which is bankrolled and organized by the Qataris, the Emir of Qatar himself, and they basically they have operatives in every single Western city. So what we're seeing, all these demonstrations, we saw demonstrations on October the 8th before we had ever entered into Gaza. So it has nothing to do with Israel. And they were shouting anti-Semitic slurs. So they were, again, we saw it in Sydney. We saw it in London. We saw it in Toronto. We saw it in New York. They were demonstrating against us on October the 8th. And so this didn't happen spontaneously. Likewise, on college campuses, when the tent camps went up, they all had the same tent brand, the same color, the same organization of the camp. So this is being funded and organized by these foreign forces. And so we need to wake up. So what happened to me in Spain, and they were waiting for us, and they had thousands of people violently attacking the race and ensuring that the race could not proceed and endangering the athletes because, you're on a bicycle traveling at 70 kilometers an hour, and they jump out into the street, and really you could break your neck. Fortunately, nobody was actually hurt. They attacked me personally. There were signs of pictures of me and with blood in the shown in the photo, AI generated blood, and calling me a baby killer, and there were full front page articles on me in the Spanish press. So no, it was a personal attack as well. So I got to experience what the kids that I talked to last night. I got to experience some of the pressures and hostility that they get in their daily lives.
Changing gears, What is it like for you to come to Auschwitz as a second-generation Holocaust survivor?
I'm the son of Holocaust survivors, and I have to say that my parents never dwelled on the past. They were forward-looking people, and that's what they instilled in me. And today, you know, I believed in the slogan of never again, the post-Holocaust slogan. I believed it. And unfortunately, since October the 7th, as I said, it's like the foreign forces, the Qataris in particular, the Muslim Brotherhood, it's like they flicked a switch and decided, yeah, and they did it thinking that, you know, we had let our guard down on that tragic day. We had let our guard down and allowed the massacre of our people. And I guess they thought they could finish the Jews off once and for all.
And of course, in this conflict since the 7th of October, Israel really has been waging a battle for its very existence because we can't lose.
Not only a battle for Israel's existence, a battle for Western civilization, because we are just the first enemy in their crosshairs. They want to destroy Western civilization. They want to destroy our way of life. They want to create an Islamic caliphate, and they've made no secret about it. You just need to read their thing. They've sent imams into the mosques all over the West to inflame their flock. They've invested hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars into the education system. It started in the universities, but now they're going younger and younger, and they're flooding money into the education systems to brainwash the youth and indoctrinate them with so to make common cause with the Islamists. And listen, our leaders in the Western world, they need to wake up. Because Israel is only the first victim. Instead of criticizing Israel, they should frankly be supporting and frankly thankful that Israel is fighting the good fight, and especially this war against Iran. We have proved that we are the only real and effective ally of the United States.
How does it feel today that a short time from now you're going to be lighting one of the torches?
Of course, it's a great honor to have been given this, and I believe I'm lighting the first of the torches, and I'm lighting it together with the victims of Bondi Beach, Manchester, and Washington D.C. And it's humbling, frankly, to be with those survivors. But we are resilient. And the lighting of the torch is symbolic of that resilience.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Now let's hear from Yoni Finlay, who survived being shot in the chest during an attack on his synagogue in the middle of Yom Kippur services in Manchester, England on October 2nd, 2025.
It was a horrific day. I was in shul on that day. I arrived quite early. I was meant to be leading one of the services, and we came under attack from a man who was just hell-bent on really doing as much damage as he could simply because we were Jewish.
I speak for everyone in telling you how very good it is to have you here and how happy we are here. You were shot in the chest. Have you fully recovered?
From a physical point of view, I'm probably almost there, but from an emotional point of view, it's going to take a lot longer. And it's very difficult because since that attack, anti-Semitism hasn't gone away. In fact, it's only increased. And it re-traumatizes, and it does bring back what happened. And it is horrifying that anti-Semitism has increased as much as it has done over the last couple of years.
You always wear your kippah on your head, and so you are visibly, demonstrably Jewish. In the past, did you fear being a victim of a terror attack, of an anti-Semitic attack?
No, you never think it's going to happen to you. I think the best way it was described afterwards was that it was a shock, but it wasn't a surprise, because anti-Semitism had been on the increase before, and therefore something like this was something waiting to happen, and unfortunately it did happen to us.
Did this attack in any way affect your own feeling of being Jewish or toward the state of Israel?
No, not in the slightest. In fact, I think my faith has become stronger despite what's happened. I feel more Jewish, I feel more connected to the state of Israel, and I feel more proud of being Jewish.
That's fantastic. Glad to hear that. What does it mean to you, and why have you come to attend the March of the Living? How will it feel for you to march alongside 7,000 people in a united stand to combat anti-Semitism?
I'm very proud to be here, very proud to be alongside. We talk about never again, but it is happening again. In the United Kingdom, for example, fewer and fewer schools are choosing to mark Holocaust Memorial Day. So how can we hope to learn from history and not repeat the horrors of it if we ignore it? So it's fantastic and it's great to be alongside other people who really see the importance of it and are doing something about it.
Well, we're very happy to have you here today. And again, I speak for everyone in saying that it means a lot for us that you are here and that you're joining in and participating with us. Thank you, Yoni.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Two staffers at the Israeli Embassy in the United States, the Director of Public Affairs, Catherine Schkop, and the Director of the Jewish Community Affairs, Abby Talmud, survived the shooting in Washington, D.C. on the 21st of May, 2025. Two of their colleagues, Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram of blessed memory, were murdered in the targeted, premeditated anti-Semitic attack.
The evening of May 21st, my friends and I, Sarah, Yaron, and Abby, we carpooled to the Capitol Jewish Museum for an event that was for young diplomats hosted by AJC. And I had never been to this event before. Sarah and Abby and Yaron had been in previous years. This was an annual celebration. And we were meeting with people that work at embassies from so many different countries. There were more than 40 represented, including 2 from Poland. And we were celebrating, you know, just diplomacy in general. We were talking about bringing aid into Gaza at that time. And we were representatives of the Israeli embassy. And we were closing out the night. It was about 9 o'clock. We had finished, the program had finished. You know, it's a classic DC thing to network a little bit after. And we were talking with old contacts, new friends, new contacts. And we were exiting the museum. And we were walking towards Abby's car. We had carpooled together. She was going to drive each of us home. So we turned right out of the museum and started walking down the sidewalk. And right as we were about to cross the street, Abby's car was on the other side of the street. I remember Abby asking me, which direction is my car? And I said, straight ahead, right by the Italian church. Because when we were walking in, I noticed that they had a welcome to Pope Leo sign. This was May of 2025, shortly after his election. After that, I suddenly heard very loud noises that sounded like this, but louder. It was echoing off the buildings, and I noticed that. So I thought to myself, I would say it was about, this was all within a few split seconds. So what I'm saying is I heard 2 really loud noises. That's probably within a second. I remember looking up because I noticed that it was echoing off the ceilings and the tops of the buildings around us. And then I thought to myself, what if those aren't fireworks? And in that moment that the thought formulated in my mind, I immediately turned right without knowing where, not knowing what gunfire it was. I honestly thought it might be a drive-by shooting. Those happen sometimes in DC. So I turned the corner, started running, and then I kept hearing the popping noises behind me. I noticed that they were a little bit quieter. So I thought to myself, again, this is all within a span of a few seconds. I thought, okay, something's happening behind me. And then I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm running in a straight line. So I immediately saw an SUV off to my left that was parked next to the sidewalk that I was running by. And I said, I'm going to go under that one because the car that had passed me was a smaller vehicle, but I noticed that this had like a bumper higher off the ground. So I thought, okay, I think I can climb under that. So as I don't really remember hitting the ground, but I remember getting close to the car, still hearing the popping noises behind me and thinking to myself, am I really going to get under a car right now? What if those are fireworks? What am I doing? You know, I'm thinking maybe this is just an overreaction. And then I just kept climbing under the car, and these popping noises are still happening behind me.
The gunman fired 21 shots, correct?
That's correct. Yes. And then that's when my colleague and friend Abby slid right next to me. I felt something slam into me under the car. And then she was breathless telling me that Yaron got shot, Yaron got shot. And I didn't say anything. I was silent. And then Abby said again, Yaron got shot, and then paused and said, oh my God, I think I'm going to have a heart attack. And I noticed that it was silent on the street, because now I understand, I didn't know that at the time, after shootings, typically it's complete silence on the street because it's shocking and most people run away. There's nobody there. And I remember I didn't turn to her, but I remember I clenched my fist and I said, Abby, shut up. I swear to God, shut up. Because I thought, if it's not a drive-by, if there were that many shots fired, maybe it's a mass shooting, like maybe they're looking for people. And I was worried that they could see our legs under the car. And so I remember it was silent for a time. I don't know how long, but I remember we were quiet.
Did the police come and rescue you? Did they extract you from this?
The police came and Abby got out from under the car, and I was still hiding under the car. I wanted to stay under that car. It gave me protection.
To what do you attribute these incredible instincts that you had? Has it ever crossed your mind that you possibly could be caught up in what you thought was either a drive-by shooting or an actual terrorist attack?
A lot of people ask me that, especially after the attack, because of how quickly I reacted.
Exactly.
I played goaltender in field hockey and lacrosse for many, many years.
Interesting.
I was ranked the best goalie in the state of Michigan in 2014, voted unanimously. I didn't actually think to run. I just thought, what if those aren't fireworks? I've always been, honestly, a very alert and aware person.
How would you describe the situation right now? Are you concerned?
I noticed that the anti-Semitism that people demonstrate is when I talk about Israel, and then the people that are hesitant about it. So some people are just, I say, innocently naive, like aren't aware about things, and they say, oh, that's interesting, and then they are curious. I wouldn't, I don't describe that as anti-Semitism. It's naive, like innocence in that way. But I have noticed where people are very uncomfortable about talking about Israel, also are uncomfortable talking about Jewish topics.
Now, you've been to Auschwitz previously.
That's correct.
This year is the first time that you're actually going to participate in the march. What motivated you to do that?
I would say that my father passed away about 1.5 years ago, and there was something that he taught me. I asked him when I was in high school, he had family that was killed in the Holocaust, and he would talk about that.
He was Polish.
Yes, both of my parents are from Poland. I'm from the outside the Warsaw area, so I grew up speaking Polish at home. And it took me to researching at Yad Vashem, doing Polish-English translation, and focusing my master's in Jewish studies in Jerusalem on Poland and Jewish life in Poland. And I would say that he would talk about the Holocaust infrequently. We would talk about World War II a lot, but the Holocaust was a very sensitive topic for him. But I remember asking him in high school, will they build gas chambers again? Will the anti-Semites build gas chambers again? And he said, no. But then he continued and said, they'll come up with something better.
Oh.
And what I have noticed post the attack, especially what I call the attack on May 21st, there was 21 bullets that were fired, and the whole purpose for the creation of gas chambers was to increase productivity, the productivity of death.
The mechanization of death.
Yes, and to cut down on costs of labor and materials. And now we're at a point where 21 shots weren't enough. The gunman wanted to keep shooting, from what I understand. I didn't see it, but this is what I've heard. And the gun couldn't keep shooting. He had more bullets. So we're now at a point where the killing of Jews is an enjoyable process or a glorified process. The Nazis were disillusioned with the process of death. They wanted someone else to handle it. They knew that it was grotesque and disgusting, and they didn't want to have anything to do with it. But now we're at the point where killing Jews is enjoyable. Look at October 7th.
Yep. So being here on the march, what do you think you're going to experience?
I don't like saying that I'm a survivor of an attack while we're standing here in Auschwitz, where, so many didn't survive. But
there is an absolute parallel.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I have said that, this is going to be my 5th time walking through a gas chamber. And the 2nd time I came, I said, who am I to walk away from a gas chamber twice, still living? And sometimes, of course, I think, who am I to be somebody who walked away from 21 bullets with none? So
resilience and revival. Catherine, thank you so much for spending time with us, and we are so glad you're here.
Thank you, Erin.
The International March of the Living is held annually on the Israeli Holocaust Remembrance Day. There's often confusion as to what date officially marks Holocaust Remembrance Day. Israel's own commemoration is actually called, in Hebrew, Yom HaZikaron LaShoah VeLaGivora, meaning the Holocaust and Heroism Remembrance Day. It's held in remembrance of the 6 million Jews murdered, as well as in tribute of Jewish resistance against Nazi Germany and its collaborators during World War II. In Israel, it's a national memorial day, and it's observed on the 27th of Nisan, according to the Hebrew calendar. The first official commemorations in Israel began in 1951. But meanwhile, the International Holocaust Remembrance Day was officially codified by the United Nations only in 2005. And it designates January 27th as the date, which is in accordance with the anniversary of when the Soviet troops liberated the Auschwitz-Birkenau extermination camps, from which we are now broadcasting live. Auschwitz-Birkenau has become an overall symbol of the Holocaust. Of course, there were many other camps, many other death camps. We see the flags waving. Today there are 7,000 people marching. Once again, please consider donating to help ensure the participation of Holocaust survivors at next year's March of the Living. You can do so by going to www.motl.org/donate. Law enforcement agencies around the world are on the front lines in the fight against acts of terror against Jews. An international police delegation is marching today. We saw visuals of them a short time ago. This initiative was developed by the Rutgers Miller Center on Policing and Community Resilience and the University of Virginia's Center for Public Safety and Justice. The chairman of the International Police Delegation, Paul Goldenberg, is leading the group on today's march for the third time.
This is my sixth time, I believe, I've visited Auschwitz. The first time actually was myself and a few of my colleagues. The second time was pretty dramatic. It was with my son. And for my son and I to be here together, I can't begin to tell you what that felt like. Because of the work I do, the work I'm in, because I come from the national security and the policing world, my son has been exposed to these things over the years, as well as my daughters. But to bring him here was extremely powerful. From that first mission, we decided how important police are to the protection not only of vulnerable citizens, but also really to sustaining democratic values. And we have tied these together. So it's not just our mission coming here where we are participating in the remembrance of the Holocaust, but we are also returning to our lands, our nations, our continents, with a better understanding of how important policing is to sustaining democratic resiliency. Without police, there is no democracy.
Absolutely.
So it's not only an impact on the police executives, they're the most senior police executives in the world, but it also has an impact on the citizens, because there's nothing that I have seen better than when we marched alongside our fellow citizens. The patches, Germany, Belgium, Canada, the United States, and citizens marched, and citizens saw their police chiefs here. Those that are responsible for protecting them, they were crying. And here you have these hardcore police executives hugging, and many of them in tears, their fellow constituents on these dirt roads. So that's why it's extremely important, and that's why the mission today has gone from 5 to nearly 125.
Tell me about these two gentlemen standing behind you, as well as the importance of this year's delegation. What's special?
What's really extraordinary about the delegation is our partnership with the German police union. This partnership started over 18 months ago, and under the leadership of Joachim Kopelke and my good friend Sven here, we are now here, and we're accompanied by nearly 25, 30 heads of state, of the police states of Germany. So Germany is standing with us And I don't think I can't speak for the German police, but I know from what I hear and what I see and what I feel from them, they are absolutely unequivocally committed.
What does it mean for you to be here at Auschwitz?
As you all could imagine, as German police officer, a uniform-wearing man in Auschwitz is very emotional. Powerful and hard. Hard to have thoughts what happens here to people, to communities, to Jewish life. So it's quite important to be here during these times and support people who survived Auschwitz, to support colleagues and follow especially the call from Paul Koldenberg to join the international delegation of police chiefs from all over the world. So Germany was not allowed to miss. We have to be here during these times and show up and march and be the ones who we want to be, protecting, and the ones with values and with the remembrance of the fallen ones and the killed ones here. So it's an honor to be here and join the international delegation.
It's really admirable. What can you tell me? You were here last year. And why is it important for you to come?
For me, especially, it's important to give a statement. We are, as German police officers, not only for the history, especially for the future. So, you know, we have a lot of anti-Semitic crime in Germany, and the forces who fight them are the German police. And so that's especially a statement for us that we are the protectors of Jewish life, of safe Jewish life in Germany, together with our comrades from the other European polices. And that's very, very important for me.
Paul, you also run a training program for your delegates each year called the Never Again Operation. Can you tell us what that is and why it's significant that you hold it here at Auschwitz?
Extremely significant, because most educational programs or professional development programs held for police are in classrooms. You can't get the same feeling unless you're here. You can't get the same feeling unless you're here not only to see what could happen if democracy falls apart and the police don't do what others want them to do. These training programs are extremely important that they're on this ground. And just by seeing the faces of these officers, these senior officers that come here, and their entire persona changes. When they start to walk through here after sitting in a classroom and learning about the Holocaust and the dehumanization of others, something changes. So we felt it was extremely important to be here. And we also changed some things this year as well. We're going to be talking to victims of hate crimes. We're going to be talking to people who have, unfortunately, suffered at the hands of others. And this is not decades ago. These are people who have suffered at the hands of others because they're Jewish just in the last 12, 18 months.
There are now more than 300,000 alumni of the International March for the Living, most of whom were high school students from around the world who took part in the poignant activities here for nearly the past 4 decades. Here's what several of these young people have to say about what motivated them to come.
I'm participating in the March of the Living because I think it's my duty as a Jew to pay respect to those who lost their lives.
I want to see with my own eyes what happened with these people in the past.
Important pour témoigner, pour commémorer, pour se souvenir et pas oublier, puis transmettre aux générations pour jamais refaire les mêmes erreurs que le passé.
Espero entender mejor lo que tuvieron que pasar todos nuestros ancestros mientras estaban en el Holocausto.
I hope to better understand the magnitude of what took place.
I want to understand how this atrocity could possibly happen in a town of just regular people.
Yo espero entender cómo los sobrevivientes pudieron seguir adelante y luchar y buscar un futuro mejor.
Being the last generation to march with survivors makes me feel lucky that I'll be able to hear their testimonies and get to know them personally.
It's very important for us to hear from the first-hand source themselves.
They're able to provide me with an experience that a textbook could never describe.
Have the opportunity to create a relationship and hear the stories of these people is definitely going to help me keep alive the memory.
Siento mucha responsabilidad de poder continuar y, aunque no hayan sobrevivientes, poder seguir yendo a honrar su memoria.
We have the responsibility to teach the other generations what happened during that time by hearing the Holocaust survivors.
Passing the torch of memory means being able to keep our Jewish history and stories alive forever.
És amit tőlük kaptunk, nekünk kötelességünk továbbadni.
It means a way bigger responsibility, as the survivors won't be here to tell their story.
Instead of them, it will be us, people who had the privilege of actually listening to their testimonies, to be the ones passing down these testimonies to the new generation.
And make sure that their voices are never diminished.
Sur nous va reposer la vérité.
Wir sind dafür verantwortlich, dass sich die Geschichte nicht noch einmal wiederholt.
El viaje es indispensable para cualquier judío en el mundo.
It's remembering, educating, and standing up against hate.
Marcha para recordar, para nunca olvidar, y sobre todo para afirmar que seguimos aquí.
Y es una forma de decir, acá estamos y acá vamos a seguir estando.
Y marcho por nuestro futuro en paz.
As you can see, the many delegations of participants are now making their way through the infamous gate marking the entrance to Birkenau. Approximately 1.1 million Jews were brought to the Birkenau Auschwitz complex between 1942 and 1944, and you can still see the very train tracks on which they were offloaded from cattle cars, generally on journeys on the way here that lasted between 3 to 9 days without food or water. The majority of the passengers brought here to Birkenau were murdered in gas chambers within just hours of their arrival here. There were 6 specific extermination camps specifically designed as killing centers for the systematic attempted genocide of the Jewish people, all of which are located in Nazi-occupied Poland. Here at Auschwitz-Birkenau, which was both a concentration and an extermination camp, it's located in the south part of Poland. Majdanek in the east was also a concentration and an extermination camp. Sobibor is also in the east. Belzec in the south. Chemno in the central western area of Poland, and Treblinka in the north. There were 23 main concentration camps that served as administrative hubs. The most well-known of these, the first one that was opened, is Dachau in southern Germany. It was opened in 1933, just weeks after Adolf Hitler was elected, followed by Buchenwald in central Germany, Sachsenhausen, and Ravensbrück in northeastern Germany. By the end of the war, the 23 main camps managed a massive network of over 1,000 subcamps. For example, the Auschwitz complex alone had more than 40 satellite camps that were utilized for slave labor in mines and factories. It's really unfathomable to note that the Nazi regime established approximately 44,000 different sites of incarceration between 1933 and 1945. This is the third International March of the Living to be held since October 7th, the Hamas massacre in Israel. It has been invaluable to include the experiences of those survivors, including captives who were released from Gaza. Bringing these delegations has been an ongoing initiative spearheaded by the Menomadin Foundation under the leadership of its founder and president, Haim Taib. Later today at the ceremony, 2 released hostages, Omri Miran and Agam Berger, will light the torch for the State of Israel. Now let's take a look at a short film about a dramatic meeting between survivors of both the Holocaust and the Hamas slaughter.
אני נולדתי ב-41 באתונה,
ההורים שלי, כל האחים והאחיות שלהם, וכמובן הצאצאים, הושמדו על ידי הנאצים. היו אנשי צבא נאצים, ניסו לתפוס יהודים, אחד מהם ברח, ואנחנו ניצלנו את ההזדמנות הזו ויצאנו מהבית, הלכנו לחבר של אבא שלי, והוא הבריח אותנו למקום אחר, לאיזשהו כפר. וככה אנחנו נדדנו בכל מיני מקומות. אבא שלי תפסו אותו והוא עבר לאושוויץ. אנחנו ניסינו לשרוד אצל משפחות גויים, אבל אותה משפחה שהיינו אצלה הם פחדו, כי אני הייתי ילד קטן, והם פחדו שאם אני אבכה אז הגרמנים יתפסו אותנו. ואז לקחו את אחי, האמא שלי שמה אותו במנזר אחד, האחות לקחה אותי, היא שמה אותי על יד השער של המנזר, כתבה את השם שלי פה, והסתכלה מרחוק לראות אם קורה משהו, ובאמת לקחו אותי. אבא שלי נותר בחיים, הוא היה בצעדת המוות, גם את זה הוא הצליח, הוא הגיע בחזרה ב-45. אני הגעתי לארץ במסגרת עליית הנוער, והוא הגיע אחרי 10 שנים.
כל השכונה הזאת נכבשה בעצם. 4 ימי לחימה היה בכפר הזה.
אני נחטפתי מפה.
פה?
אני בבית האחרון.
האחרון?
כן. נכנסו לדירה אחרי ששרפו אותה, כל הממ"ד שלי היה מלא עשן.
בגלל זה היית צריך לצאת?
הייתי צריך לצאת החוצה.
ואתה?
אני הייתי אצל אמילי. זרקו לנו רימון פנימה, נכנסו, ירו באמילי, בכלבה של אמילי. לקחו אותנו החוצה פשוט.
להיות שם במנהרות, תחת האיום המתמיד שכל רגע יכולים להרוג אתכם או לעשות לכם, אני לא יודע מה. זה בלתי נתפס.
אתה עובר פה בשבילים, אתה רואה את הדברים הרוסים, אתה נזכר באותו יום בשביעי.
אני רואה פה גיהנום. זה מה שאני רואה.
כעם יהודי תמיד עוברים את ההשוואה של השואה, ואז עוד מלחמה שעוברת ועוד מלחמה שעוברת. כל פעם מחדש אתה מוצא את הכוחות להמשיך את החיים.
שורדי השואה הם המגדלור שלנו. זה בחור ששרד את הגאולה שם, והגיע לפה והקים מדינה. רק מה ללמוד מהבן אדם הזה.
העם יהודי תמיד ירדף ותמיד נרדף. אנחנו תמיד יודעים גם למצוא את עצמנו ולקום ולבנות חיים חדשים. ביחד אנחנו נראה לעולם שאנחנו חזקים ולא ישברו אותנו, ועם ישראל חזק ומאוחד.
Earlier today, we had the opportunity to speak with several survivors of the Holocaust who are here attending this year's March of the Living.
And where are you from?
I am from Jerusalem.
Jerusalem, beautiful. Is this your first time on the March?
Yes, the first time, yes.
How do you, tell me a little about your experience. How does it feel to be here?
Very emotional. The people, they're all friends, suddenly. Friends. I didn't know them before, but you feel like togetherness. I wish it had been like that in the time of when they really were here. I don't know. I had family here, I had people here, but they couldn't tell me how it was. And I have read books, many books about this place and about the concentration camps, and I saw that there was also a lot of taking the bread from each other. Today we have enough for everybody, and I hope we can all be friends also when we come back to normal life.
This is an important event to be at.
What did you say?
Do you feel that this is an important event to be at?
To be here? Yes. I didn't plan to be here, but I was invited. And now I am happy that I am here, yes. I am happy that I can see that it will close something of my life. The beginning was with the war, and now I close it. I found back people that I knew.
Are you here with any of your family?
I have 2 daughters there. I have a very good friend here. He's also a survivor, but he's younger than me. We have a very special bond. This is very emotional, this whole thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much.
Yes.
Would you like to say a few words? Can you tell me your name?
Well, I'm here
This is the first time for me here to be on the march. But I have been here before because of remembering my father who was killed here in 1942. And Auschwitz is very special for me in that way. And I have been during the war when I was living in Holland. I was picked up. I was born in a hiding place where my parents were hidden for the Germans. And because they couldn't have a crying baby over there, people from the resistance have moved me over to Amsterdam. And in Amsterdam, I was handed over to her father. And her father took me to his home, and he dropped me on the doorstep of their neighbors next door because they had hidden a lot of Jews in their homes. And I was received as a present from God there because they could not have children and they were very happy with me. So I survived the war thanks to her father. Absolutely. Jan van Hulst, which is very important. It's very important to me. So I'm walking the march, and also in honor for her father.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Phyllis Greenberg Heidemann, the president of the International March of the Living, emphasizes the importance of today's events.
The 2026 International March of the Living has overcome obstacles that we never anticipated. The world has not made it easy for us to come here, and I'm very gratified. We are so proud that 7,000 people from countries around the globe combating anti-Semitism has become such a part of their life, such a part of their mission to improve society. Almost each and every participant has had to overcome flight cancellations, world issues, visa issues, and nothing has deterred them from coming to stand here in this place to say, we really need to fix society. We want to take a stand. We want to know that we are contributing, Aaron, to making a difference, to making this world a better place, to leaving this world to our children, our grandchildren, and even our great-grandchildren. And here, coming to this place, we realize that we must put a stop to what the world is facing, to the actions of humanity, to the absolute hatred, hate, and distaste, and protest, and anger over what? We are alive. We live in a beautiful world. It's not the world that's bad. It's not the world that is filled with hatred. It is the people. And we need to reach those people. So the March of the Living, what we do, we bring people here to see what blind hatred leads to, what it has led to, what it can lead to again. We don't want that. Is there anybody in the world who wants to see a recurrence of the annihilation of 6 million human beings, women, men, children, babies, just because of who they were? They did nothing to deserve to be treated, and I won't enumerate because I'll cry, to be treated and handled and mishandled the way they were. I think that once you come to this place, once you join the March of the Living and you participate, you engage with other men and women, young people from high school, a little bit older people from colleges, and young professionals with older people, with survivors. You see that there is a better place. We can make a difference, Aaron. We can change. We can change the mentality of hatred. Man, women against other men and women just because they're different than they are. Freedom and liberty, the right to be, the right to exist, the right to be an individual is a birthright of all of us. We each are entitled to live our lives. So if someone is from one political aspect, if someone is from one religious aspect, let's come together. Let's come together because we who come here every year for over 3 decades, 3.5 decades, when we come here, we see and we are keenly reminded that blind hatred leads to no good, to death, to dying, to murder. We hope every year that those who come with us on the March of the Living, who overcome the obstacles to come on the 2026 March of the Living, understand there's bigger issues, more important issues, and a meaning to life that you take away from this place of death, where we come once a year to bring life to this place of death, to remember our ancestors, to remind them that we will never forget them. We will always remember them. In their dream, were they alive, and if they had voice, they would say, please, treasure life, promote life, and stop the hatred.
Well, how will it impact the March of the Living once the survivors have passed and they can't attend anymore?
I think that in life we have to be quite fluid. We have to be adaptable. We have to make the most of the situation. We have to learn to pivot. Because of the war in the Middle East, we were unable to bring 1,500 Israelis who very much wanted to come to Poland, giving dignity to their past or to the past of their family members, or just to come and bear witness themselves. Learn and adjust to the new norms of society and the technology you have to tell and retell the story. Every Passover, we the Jewish people read the Haggadah, and we tell and retell the story of our pilgrimage from Egypt. We have no survivors from those days, and yet we never forget. We teach them in a way that they can understand, because education is the most important dimension of what we do. It is our goal, it is our raison d'etre, and we will do this. Without survivors will not be as easy. However, the memory of them, their resilience, their strength, their impact on our lives is what will carry us through to tell and retell their story for years to come.
It's interesting to delve into the usage and etymology of the word Holocaust. The word itself originated with the Greek word for burnt offering, in apparent reference to the incineration of the victims' bodies in crematoria. It's also been used to include non-Jewish victims, such as the Roma Sinti people, Soviet prisoners of war, homosexuals, and others who were persecuted. Now, in Israel, the Hebrew word Shoah is used, which translates as the catastrophic destruction, and it's exclusively used for the Jewish attempted genocide. The Nazis had their own term. They used the final solution, which was aimed at their attempts to kill every last Jew on earth. If we take a look at where the highest number of the 6 million Jews were murdered during the Holocaust and where they came from, Hungary had the most, with 550,000 victims. Poland follows with 300,000 Jewish victims. France comes next with 69,000. 60,000 of the murdered were from the Netherlands, 55,000 from Greece, 46,000 from Bohemia and Moravia, which is in Central Europe, which covers the majority of what is today the Czech Republic. 27,000 came from Slovakia, 25,000 from Belgium, and 23,000 from both Germany and Austria, 10,000 from what was then Yugoslavia, 7,500 from Italy, and 690 from Norway. The Nazi regime actually operated a total of 7 gas chambers here at the Auschwitz-Birkenau complex over the course of his existence. There were plans for an eighth, but there wasn't enough time to build it before the Germans lost the war. Crematorium 1 was the first mass gas chamber established in the basement of the base camp in Auschwitz in 1941. It was primarily used for Soviet prisoners of war and small groups of Jews before larger gassing operations were moved to Birkenau. First, there was something called the Little Red House, or Bunker 1, that was created at the Auschwitz II Birkenau extermination site by repurposing an existing farmhouse. And that began operations in early 1942. That was followed by Bunker 2, also known as the Little White House, which was a second repurposed farmhouse that was brought into use shortly afterward to increase capacity. Now, these were both followed by the building in 1943 of large-scale, purposely built facilities called Crematoria 2, 3, 4, and 5. They contained both underground or semi-underground gas chambers and high-capacity furnaces in a single industrial complex. At the peak of the Holocaust in 1944, particularly during the deportation of Hungarian Jews, these 4 enormous crematoria in Birkenau were the primary sites of staggering mass murder. About 12,000 people could be gassed to death at one time, historians say, while the 4 crematoria could burn 4,416 corpses, all in a single day here at Birkenau, in a haunting reminder of the calculated, industrialized nature of the final solution. The only successful armed revolt by prisoners at Auschwitz-Birkenau took place on October 7th, 1944, when Sonderkommando, mostly Jewish prisoners, successfully blew up Crematoria 4, which is very close. It's about a 10-minute walk from where I am right now. While the revolt did not stop the camp's operations entirely, it was a profound act of resistance, resulting in the total destruction of that particular mass murder facility, rendering it completely useless for the remainder of the war. In efforts to hide the evidence of their crimes, as the Red Army approached, the SS blew up the remaining crematoria and gas chambers in late 1944 and early 1945. Today, only the ruins of these nightmarish structures remain here at the memorial site through the gas chamber in Auschwitz I, although it was reconstructed at Auschwitz by the museum, the official state museum, after the war, by using the original components to show visitors the exact mechanism of the murder. Just ahead of the advancing Soviet troops, the Nazis decided to liquidate Auschwitz-Birkenau, even though they were clearly losing the war. Starting on January 18th of 1945, they still forced an estimated 60,000 remaining prisoners, almost entirely Jewish, onto death marches by foot in the freezing winter conditions. They headed westward toward other concentration camps that were deeper inside the Third Reich. The very last organized transport left Auschwitz on the 21st of January. When the Red Army soldiers of the 322nd Rifle Division arrived at the gates only 6 days later, on the 27th of January, 1945, there were only about 7,000 people left here on the grounds. The majority were either children younger than 15 or deathly ill middle-aged adults. According to reports, there were 600 corpses lying on the ground. Among the personal belongings collected by the Nazis, there were 370,000 men's suits, 837 articles of women's clothing, and over 7 tons of human hair. Dan Stone, who's the author of a book called The Liberation of the Camps, cited Red Army General Vasily Petrenko as expressing, quote, shock by the Nazis' indescribable hatred toward the inmates who would turn into living skeletons. I read, he said, about the Nazis' treatment of the Jews in various leaflets, but there was nothing about the Nazis' treatment of women, children, and old men. It was in Auschwitz I that I found out about the fate of the Jews. Further documentation shows that at least 100 of those 7,000 souls left here in January of 1945 died by the following month despite medical efforts. The majority managed to leave within 3 to 4 months after liberation, and the last remaining Jewish prisoners were only healthy enough to be evacuated that following summer. We are now nearing the start of the official ceremony for the International March of the Living 2026, which is being held at the base of the crematorium in the Birkenau extermination camps. The stage is between what was crematoria 2 and 3. 7 torches are lighted each year during this ceremony. 6 are in memory of the 6 million Jewish men, women, and children who perished in the Holocaust, while the 7th represents resilience, revival, and rebirth. The Jewish people were targeted by the Nazis soon after Adolf Hitler came to power as German Chancellor in 1933. That included an officially declared national boycott of Jewish businesses, the exclusion of so-called non-Aryans from many professions, the burning of books by Jewish authors, and encouragement of violent public attacks by civilians on Jews. By 1935, the anti-Semitic Nuremberg laws were passed that officially stripped Jews of their citizenship and left them stateless. Intermarriage was banned as part of the Nazis' concept to protect the purity of German Aryan blood and honor, and Jews were defined as enemies of the race-based state. Anyone caught violating these laws would be arrested by the Gestapo and often shipped to the death camps. To remind you, the Nazi genocide was aimed at exterminating every Jew on earth as part of their so-called final solution. This evil plan was executed primarily between 1941 and 1945, when the Third Reich and its collaborators systematically murdered at least 6 million Jewish people. The killing of all ages, infants, young children, boys, girls, parents, grand and even great-grandparents, initially began by mass executions and gassings by the Einsatzgruppen mobile killing units, and then the construction of the gas chambers followed at the death camps, most notably here at Auschwitz-Birkenau, as well as Treblinka, Belchik, Sobibor, and Chemno, all of which were in then-occupied Poland. We see joyous marchers, happy again, in a sign that Jewish life has continued. The genocide may have been attempted by the Nazis, but the Nazis were defeated and no longer exist, and the Jewish people continue. Am Yisrael Chai. They're carrying the placards with their own special inscribed messages, which they will leave behind them here on the grounds of Birkenau. We see, now we're looking at the stage of where the ceremony is about to get underway.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Can I ask you all, please, to take your seats The ceremony will start in 1 minute. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Shh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Greg Maisel, and on behalf of the International March of the Living, I welcome you to today's ceremony. Today on Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Memorial Day, we gather here at Aушвиц-Биркенау, just one in a network of camps where Jews were systematically put to death as part of the Nazis' final solution. In memory of the victims, we begin with a moment of silence. At the sound of the siren, please rise. Thank you. Please be seated.
אל נקמות אדוני, אל נקמות הופיע. הנשא שופט הארץ, השב גמול על גאים. עד מתי רשעים אדוני? עד מתי רשעים יעלוזו? יביעו, ידברו עתק, יתאמרו כל פועלי אבן. עמך אדוני ידכאו ונחלתך יענו. אלמנה וגר יהרגו, ויתומים ירצחו. ויאמרו לא יראה יה, ולא יבין אלוהי יעקב.
During the Holocaust, 6 million Jewish men, women and children were systematically murdered, simply because of their religion. In their memory, and the memory of all the survivors who have perished since, Holocaust survivor Sol Naiman from Canada will lead us in Kaddish, the mourner's prayer. Please rise.
Dear friends, I'm going to take just a few seconds to tell you how incredibly touched I've been to have this opportunity to recite Kaddish, and I hope we get through it. I'd like you to know that I'm reciting Kaddish for the 6 million Jews who perished during the Shoah, and for the 1,000 out of 1,200 members of my town, Stochek Vengrovsky, and for my grandmother, who passed away or was killed in Treblinka. I will recite Kaddish now. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, Balma divrach kulutei v'yamlich machotei, B'chayachon u'b'yamachon chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Yehi shlama Rabba mishmaya, v'chayim l'olam l'almei almaya, v'yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpoar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal shmei kudsha, Leila min kol bichata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiron b'ama v'imru amen. Leila min kol bichata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiron b'ama v'imru amen. Yehi shlam Rabba mishmaya, v'chaim aleinu, v'al kol Israel. Rafa'inu Elohim Ashlicha B'chapara V'rava Batzla Lanu L'kol Amo Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav V'yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael.
Please remain standing. Chief Cantor of the Israel Defense Forces, Lieutenant Colonel Shai Abramson, will chant the prayer, El Malei Rachamim, God full of mercy.
שוכן במרומים, דיין אלמנות ואבי יתומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מאירים ומזהירים, לנשמות 6 מיליונים אחינו ואחיותינו, רבבות רבבות אלפי ישראל, אנשים, נשים וטף, שנהרגו, שנשחטו, שנשרפו, שנחנקו, ויגברו חיים ושורתו בכל מיני מיתות משונות ואכזריות בידי הגרמנים הנאצים ועוזריהם ושלחו לעולמם על קידוש השם שאנו מתפללים לעילוי נשמותיהם לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים וייצור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם בגן עדן מנוחתם אדוני הוא נחלתם ושלום על משכבותם ונאמר
Please be seated. As we mark 81 years since the end of World War II and the liberation of the death camps, we are blessed to have with us today 50 Holocaust survivors from around the world, including 10 survivors from Israel, whom we were able to bring to the march at the last minute due to a ceasefire. All the survivors the courageous people who emerged from humanity's greatest nightmare, yet summoned the strength to rebuild their lives, are a source of inspiration for us all. 7,000 participants, including students, young professionals, and adults from dozens of countries, have marched today, united in their determination to keep the memory of the Holocaust alive and to fight anti-Semitism. Please welcome the President of the International March of the Living, the Honourable Phyllis Greenberg Heidemann, and the Chairman of the March, Dr. Shmuel Rosenman.
I'm so short. Good afternoon. It is my honor, my privilege, and a true blessing in my life to serve as President of the International March of the Living and to greet you today on behalf of our board of directors, our devoted clients, and our very dedicated staff hailing around the globe. On their behalf, I thank you and I applaud you. I applaud your participation on the 2026 March of the Living, especially during these most difficult times in which each one of us are living. I thank you for joining our annual mission to preserve and protect the memory of our 6 million beloved, perished ancestors on whose shoulders we each stand. Your presence here today is testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the commitment that I believe each one of you will embrace and become torchbearers of the past and lamplighters of the future. As our esteemed mentor Elie Wiesel taught us, when you listen to a witness, you become a witness. Each one of you today has listened in some capacity to a witness, and now it's our turn to use our voice to replace their voice. As I look out over the sea of beautiful blue jackets before me, I am inspired by the meaning of this most wonderful, I will say wonderful even in Birkenau, processional that we have just concluded. And I believe that those who dwell in this miserable place are grateful that we have continued our emotional annual visit of remembrance and respect, and have proven yet again against all obstacles that they are not forgotten. We remember them. We remember them by their name. We remember them by their legacy. We remember them by the lessons that they leave us. If I had one prayer right now, it would be for the safety and security for all peoples of the world, for the Jewish people and for all our friends, all our neighbors, all our fellow human beings around the globe. May we all go from strength to strength as together we, with a full heart, a kinder spirit, driven by love, not hate, may we all face a better future tomorrow. It is my privilege. It's one of the best things I get to do as president of the March, and that is to introduce to you and present to you our fearless, our tireless, inspirational Dr. Shmuel Rosenman. I love you. Go ahead.
Dear friends, we stand here today in Auschwitz-Birkenau, a place where the ground remembers and where silence still speaks. Here, Jewish families were destroyed. Mothers, fathers, children, grandparents, not by fate, but by Nazi murderers. Children were burned, families were erased. 6 million Jews were murdered. This is not only a history, this is a warning. And yet, we are here, we stand, we remember. We look at the survivors among us. The survivors among us. You faced darkness and you chose life. You carried memory forward and today you pass it to us. Leaving a torch, a sacred responsibility, not only to remember, but to act, because the world around us is not calm. There is fear, there is tension, there is a storm rising. And in that storm, hatred is rising again. Anti-Semitism is not behind us. It is here. That is the way that we must speak. To the leaders of the world, I will say, this is your moment. Not tomorrow, now. Do not explain hatred. Fight it. Do not ignore it. Stop it. History will judge what you do. And to you, young people, students from all over the world, standing here, look around you. This place is now part of you. You are not only witnesses, you are the next voice. But more than that, this is your moment, not only to remember, not only to tell the story, but to lead, to take responsibility, to take action, and to take a stand. When you see hate, confront it. When you hear lies, challenge them. When others are silent, lead. Because memory without action is forgetting. From this place, we choose life, we raise our voice, we carry light. The torch is now in our hands. We will carry it forward with strength and without fear. Because never again is not a slogan. It is a duty. We march today not only to remember, but to act. Because if we are silent, this place is not only a memory, it is a warning that we fail to hear. And today we make a choice. We will not be silent. We will not look away. We will stand. We will speak. We will act. Hatred is here, and we will stop it. Together, Am Israel Chai.
First, they screamed, "Go back to the gas chambers," and the world was silent. Then, they attacked us on the way to school, but nothing was done.
Then they told us, keep away from universities and call it a political protest.
Then they spray painted swastikas on synagogues and said it was just vandalism.
Then they marked our homes with Stars of David, but said Jews were safe.
Then they spat on us and attacked us on buses and subways, and no one took action.
Then they marched through the streets spreading hate and incitement, calling for the murder of Jews. And this, too, was allowed to continue.
Then they told us to conceal Jewish symbols. So some of us took down mezuzahs, stopped wearing Stars of David, and hid our kippas in public.
We increased security, avoided Jewish events, and grew accustomed to fear.
Then they murdered us in Colorado, Washington, Manchester, but the world quickly returned to normal. On Hanukkah, at Bondi Beach in Sydney, they targeted us again.
People running, just running in terror and in fear for their lives, scrambling kids and babies.
With deadly hatred, killing 15 people
including a Holocaust survivor and a child. Yet nothing changed. Nothing. What ends with murder begins with silence.
What ends with murder
begins with silence.
begins with silence.
Silence. Silence. Silence. Silence.
עיירתנו בוערה כולה ברוחות שחורות יסערו להבות חורבן יבערו עקבותיה לא נשארו היא עולה באש ואתם חובקים ידיים בלי הושיט עזרה בלי כבות את אש הלהב אש העיירה Sprint, Brüderlach, sprint! Und unser Ohren steht neblig brennen. Beise Winden mit ihren Gossen reißen, brechen und zerblasen. Starker noch die wilde Flamme als Arum schon brennt. Und ihr steht und guckt, also sich mit verlegter Hand. Und ihr steht und guckt, also sich unser Städtel brennt. Es brennt.
Ha'ayara bo'eret. Our shtetl is burning. Our thanks to Cantor Shai Abramson and violinist Agam Berger. Released from Hamas captivity after 482 days, Agam's first public performance was at the 2025 March of the Living. We are truly grateful to have her with us again today. We have come here to honor and remember. Each year we light 7 symbolic torches, 6 flames of memory for the 6 million Jewish men, women and children murdered in the Holocaust, and a 7th torch dedicated to the resilience, survival and revival of our people in the State of Israel. Despite the ongoing global threat of anti-Semitism, we continue to bring light to the world. To light the torch of fighting anti-Semitism, I call upon the US envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism, Rabbi Yehuda Kaplun, followed by the President of the World Jewish Congress, Israel, Mr. Sylvan Adams, along with representatives of those who survived violent anti-Semitic attacks during the last 2 years.
Walking through these gates and understanding that we have entered a field of death. We entered a spot where 1 million of the 6 million souls who perished here from our nation are here with us in this space. Walking through these gates, one can imagine 85 years ago, the cries of the mothers looking for their children, the cries of fathers trying to take care of their sons and adults trying to take care of their elderly, and all to be given the same fate. What kind of terrible evil can do this? How is this allowed to occur? The silence of the world was deafening with the rhetoric of the Nazi anti-Semitism. Today, we again have a rise in anti-Semitism in unparalleled levels, not seen before since the time of Nazi Germany. Our response globally cannot be the same. It must be confronted, it must be dealt with, and it must unapologetically be led by those people who can confront evil, leadership within the world. Our administration is fighting an axis of evil to protect every single person to have the right to worship freely and be recognized and be free to worship freely. As we are about to light the torch, and the torches, they represent light. They don't just represent the souls of those who perished, but they represent the light of all of us here who will do deeds, good, positive deeds in their memory. All of you here are witness that the world did not speak out, and the results were staggering. What hatred did was unparalleled. As we light the candles, we honor the legacy of the 6 million. And how do we do so? By never surrendering to hate. Being unapologetically Jewish. That is what it means, zachor, to remember. To deny the truth of what we are all witnessing here today, the legacy of what occurred here, we are bearing witness today that those who wish to deny what occurred here are denying the depth of the evil to which the human spirit can rise. It is a denial of the spiritual strength of the survivors who rebuilt their lives, and it is also a denial of the heroism of the brave Allied soldiers who came in here as liberators 81 years ago today. Denying this evil is not an affront just to the Jewish people. It is an affront to the capacity of mankind to overcome evil. Together as one people, as one nation, we will carry the memory of those 6 million departed souls. We will carry it by doing wondrous things in true Jewish tradition. Every light that the torch will represent, it will represent the good. The light will overcome the darkness of evil. We will carry forward the unwritten stories of all those who perished here by living lives that they were not unable to do. Being here today, this is the victory over the Nazis. We are here, and they are not. That is how together, standing unabashedly proud of who we are, we will win this battle against the axis of evil, against the hate of anti-Semitism. And all of us here today have a responsibility to be ambassadors for humanity, speaking out for those who are unable to speak out. Thank you.
I stand here in Auschwitz as the son of Marcel and Annie Adams, two Romanian Jews whose lives were shaped by the shadow of this place. My father survived slave labor, escaped Europe, and later fought for the State of Israel in Israel's War of Independence. My mother survived the war as a child in hiding, and with my grandparents came to Israel after being turned away by the British and spending 6 months in an internment camp in Cyprus. I carry their story with me tonight. I light this torch alongside survivors and victims of recent anti-Semitic attacks in Manchester, Sydney, and Washington, D.C. We stand here together because history did not end here. Anti-Semitism didn't end in 1945. Jews are still being targeted in synagogues, in schools, in public life. And too often, the response is far too slow, too hesitant, too uncertain. They protect the blaspheming and violent haters, so-called rights to free speech, and they tell us to leave the streets in our own cities for our safety. So we say from this place, we remember what happened when violent mobs marched in the 1930s and the majority was afraid to stand up to them. We won't allow this to happen again. I light this torch on behalf of Jews everywhere. Those who feel afraid and intimidated, those who feel exposed, those who are told to hide who they are. And I say to them, you are not alone. We stand with you. We will speak, we will defend who we are with clarity, with strength, and with pride. From this place of death, we affirm life. From this place of destruction, we affirm continuity. Am Israel Chai.
My name is Eva Weizen. My husband Tibor, our friend Edith Brutman, and I are all children of Holocaust survivors. We were attending Hanukkah celebration at Bondi Beach when suddenly people were shooting at us. Tibor and Edith were murdered right in front of me. My clothes were covered with their blood. 13 other members of the Jewish community lost their life that day. May their memory be a blessing. I wish I could forget what I saw, but I cannot.
My name is Yoni Finley. I survived the anti-Semitic attack at the Heaton Park Hebrew congregation in Manchester on Yom Kippur, the holiest day on the Jewish calendar. I was wounded, but Melvin Kravitz and Adrian Dolby were killed. May their memory be a blessing.
My name is Abby Talmud.
And my name is Catherine Schkupp.
We survived the anti-Semitic attack outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. last May.
But our friends, Sarah Lynn Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky, were murdered. May their memory be a blessing.
Okay, I got it. Yes, please. We light the torch of fighting anti-Semitism in memory of the victims of Jew hatred. Here, in the largest Jewish burial ground in the world, we declare loudly and clearly, we will no longer be victims. We will shout against the evils of anti-Semitism wherever it exists. And we ask you all to do the same proudly and unashamedly.
Policing professionals hold a responsibility unlike any other, not just to enforce the law, but to protect the dignity, rights, and humanity of the people they serve. But when police are misused, when they become pawns of oppression or tools of tyrants, the foundation of democracy begins to erode. History has shown us the consequences are catastrophic. For more than 35 years, the March of the Living has brought together citizens of the world to remember the Holocaust. The March offers a journey no training can match, a direct, personal confrontation with a dark past. Today, the Miller Center on Policing at Rutgers University and the Center for Public Safety and Justice at the University of Virginia brings global policing leaders into this experience to confront, together, the hard truth of police complicity in past atrocities. Through this delegation of police chiefs, officials, and emerging leaders, the collaborating centers challenge participants to confront history and examine their own role in preventing hate, bias, and institutional failure. Journey that connects memory to mission, because the Holocaust is not only a tragedy of the past, it is a warning and a call to action.
We vowed never again, and the world has echoed our call. Police, law enforcement and intelligence personnel stand at the forefront of the struggle against hate crime and anti-Semitism. As part of their training to face this rising tide of anti-Semitism, 130 senior representatives have come here from around the globe to join the March of the Living. Would the members of the delegation please stand up? Thank you. On their behalf, to light the torch of protection, I am honoured to call to the stage Mr. Paul Goldenberg, Chairman of the International Police Delegation and Deputy Director of the Rutgers Miller Centre on Policing and Community Resilience, Jochen Koppelke, Chairman of the German Police Union and President of the European Federation of Police Unions, Michael Brown, Executive Director of the Small and Rural Law Enforcement Executives Association, Mr. Rob Kilfoyle, President, International Association of Campus Law Enforcement Administrators, Ben Hyman, Executive Director, University of Virginia Center for Public Safety and Justice, Jeannie Hang-Amule, Superintendent, New Jersey State Police, Director David Rausch, President of the International Association of Chiefs of Police, and Sheriff Justin Smith, Executive Director of the United States National Sheriffs Association.
Thank you. Today, on the ground of Auschwitz-Birkenau, we stand in a place where evil was not abstract. It was state-sponsored, it was organized, empowered, and enforced, unfortunately, by people who wore police uniforms in some cases. Those people abandoned the very people that they were sworn to protect. You see here, we are representatives of millions of police around the world. And we honor those lives taken. We remember the suffering that still cries out to the conscience of the world today. We, who are literally entrusted with your safety, your security, your freedom, understand policing is not about power. It is a responsibility for all of us. The responsibility to respect human dignity, to uphold the rule of law, to stand between the vulnerable and those that would harm them, and to do so without fear, without favor, without prejudice. You see, when policing holds the line, democracy holds. When it fails, democracy begins to erode, because history is not only the past. Ladies and gentlemen, history is a warning, and it should shake us to our core that even today, our Jewish communities, and it's our Jewish communities, you are our Jewish communities, no matter what country we come from. These communities stand guarded, not as symbols of strength, but as shields of hate. Quite frankly, this is not normal. That is not acceptable. And history is asking all of us, not only here, but more so around the world, do we have the courage to act before it's too late once again? So standing together, more than 130 of our fellow brothers and sisters from every continent, by the way, in the world, we are united not in symbolism, because this is not about symbolism, but in commitment to confront the hatred, to turn memory into action, and we are coining the term or using it, operationalizing never again. So today in this place where silence once enabled evil, we speak with moral clarity, and I promise you, unbreakable resolve. Never again, not now, not ever, and not on our watch.
I arrived at Ravensbrück on the 2nd of December 1944, and I was then 14 years old, and my cousin was 7. After 4.5 days of riding a cattle truck, it was very crowded. There's no food or water or sanitary provisions. We arrived at Ravensbrück. We had to undress. Our clothing was taken away. Our heads were shaved. We were given the concentration camp garb. And when we looked at one another, we just all looked the same. It was such a shock, because we felt that we had been deprived not only of the things we brought, and we had already been deprived of family, but this time we felt that we were deprived of our personality, our identity. And that's a most terrible feeling. It just makes people give up. I arrived in Bergen-Belsen. I don't remember much from the journey, except that children were crying and everybody was very scared. We didn't know where we were going and what's going to happen to us. And when we stopped, we heard a lot of dogs barking. Then we heard the German words, raus, raus. And the first thing that hit me as I walked through the gates was the smell and the smog. There were dead bodies everywhere, and there were piles of bodies. There were people there, but they were just like zombies. I remember looking out of the window. I could see people running. I didn't know why they were running or where they were running. That was the 15th of April, 1945, when we were liberated by the British, the amazing British.
Our next torch symbolizes liberation. It salutes the valor of the Allied troops who liberated the death camps, answering the prayers of people like Mala Trubich, who was rescued from Bergen-Belsen by the British Army. Joining her are Rebecca Saunders and Alfie Joseph from the United Kingdom March of the Living delegation.
I, Mala Helfgott-Trubich, was born in Piotrków Trybunalski, Poland, in 1930. Under the Nazis, we were stripped of our humanity, treated like livestock, and shipped to death camps in cattle trucks unfit for human beings. From the moment I arrived at the camp, I was no longer Mala Trubich. I was just a prisoner. I light this torch in honor of the British troops who liberated Bergen-Belsen and Allied forces that won the war and set us free.
אבא שלי לא רצה לקבל שום תואר ושום כבוד ושום מדליה שהוא חסיד אומות העולם. אמא שלי הייתה יהודייה, אבא שלי לא יהודי. הוא היה אומר, להיות בסדר זה נורמלי, צריך להיות בעולם שלנו. הוא היה מאוד אמיץ, נוסע כל פעם למפקדת הגרמנים, נכנס, הייל היטלר, והיה לו גם קוניאק במקרה, וסיגריות בכיס. תודה רבה, אתם עושים עבודה גדולה להוציא את כל היהודים מהולנד, מי צריך אותם? הוא ראה שזה מצליח, אז הוא היה עושה עוד ניירות מזויפות. וככה עוזר ליהודים לצאת מהולנד. בתור ילדה ידעתי טוב מעט, וגם האחיות שלי ידעו שיש אצלנו אנשים שהם יהודים ושהם מסתתרים מהגרמנים. אנחנו עזרנו להורים שלנו לקיים את הסיפור הזה. הייתי בת 9, אבא שלי העיר אותי בלילה ואמר לי, את יכולה רגע לבוא לעזור לנו? היה שם צילום של היהודי מודבק על תעודת זהות של לא יהודי. היה חסר חתיכה קטנה של החותמת. צריך לצייר את זה. חנה יודעת לצייר, מה אכפת לה? היא עושה את זה. טוב, עשיתי. ועוד אחת, 2. בוקר אחד אמא העירה אותנו ואמרה, יש הפתעה אצל השכנים הלילה מצאו על יד הדלת תינוק קטנצ'יק ששכב שם. כל כך שמחנו. אנחנו מאוד אהבנו את השכנים האלו, ולא היו להם ילדים. גם לא היה לו שם, אז קראו לו בני, כמו הנסיך שלנו, נסיך שהיה אז. שמו היה ברנארד. כל כך אהבתי אותו, והשכנה נתנה לי לשים אותו בעגלה של הבובה שלי, ולטייל איתו בגינה, הלוך וחזור. וואו, אני רציתי ככה ילד, כשהיא הרגלה לספור. וזה הניצחון שלי.
Chana Yachin grew up between two worlds, a Jewish mother and a Christian father, who would later be recognized as one of the righteous among the nations. Though he never sought recognition, believing that saving lives was simply the human thing to do. As a young girl, Hannah did not stand aside. She became part of that quiet resistance, using her gift for drawing to help forge documents that saved Jewish lives. From her parents, she learned that courage is not extraordinary. It is a choice, rooted in humanity. Today she lights the torch of hope in honor of the righteous among the nations, together with Benny, Wilhelm Berhard Chazan, the baby whose life her family helped save.
As a child, I watched my parents risk everything, guided by the belief that it is our duty as human beings to protect and, if possible, to rescue the persecuted. From my parents, I learned that even in the darkest times, we are responsible for our choices. I feel blessed, not only because I survived the Holocaust and lived to see the Jewish people rise from its ashes, but also because, being shaped by my parents' principles, I had the luck to make Aliyah and marry a man who helped me educate our children and grandchildren in the same spirit. I light this torch in memory of my father, Jan van Hulst, and in memory of all the brave people who risked their lives and the lives of their families to save Jews, babies, children, and adults, human beings.
I was born in the hiding place of my parents. They could not keep a crying baby there, so I was transported in a suitcase to Amsterdam. There I was handed over to Jan van Hulst, Hannah's father. He took me with him to his home in Amstelveen, where he already had hidden several Jewish people. I think that Paula Horowitz, his wife, arranged it to drop me on the doorstep of their neighbors. They secretly dropped me there, like Moses was dropped in a basket. I was dropped in a suitcase next door, and where I was received as a God's present. I, Ben Ghazan, that little baby that you saw there, will dedicate this torch to the selfless heroism of Hannah's father, who risked his life to save mine. Righteous among the nations was giving him as title. He was an example of somebody who gave his best for humanity in hard times of war. I do hope that today there will be lots of righteous among the nations here who will standing up for humanity, destroying or even killing it. Thank you.
What was the Holocaust?
A war.
What happened during the Holocaust?
People got taken away from their family.
Yes? And what happened to them?
And they had to go and work.
Yes?
And it was hard for them.
And it was hard for them, yes. A lot of people were lost during the Holocaust. I lost my mother and my sister, many uncles and aunts, and a whole slew of cousins. That was the biggest loss, is to lose your family and not have anybody to come back to. But I was lucky, my father survived. So this number, see, the people who went to their death did not get numbers. It's actually a number for life. You want to read the number? 1,
3, 3, 6, 2, 8.
What is the March of the Living?
A program that teaches people about the Holocaust.
Yes, that's exactly right.
How many times were you on the march? 21.
21. It's a long time, right?
Yeah. A lot of my friends will never be able to meet a Holocaust survivor. What should I tell them?
The Holocaust survivors have a big responsibility. You know what responsibility is?
Yeah.
The responsibility is that we have to tell people like you what it is that we lost and what it was, how terrible it was. And to let the people know that you must carry on our Jewish nation and our Jewish religion as best we can, that we have to be proud of who we are. And we must never let anybody tell us that we are less than anybody else. I hope that when you go on the March of the Living, that you remember me.
I will.
And you tell your friends, I knew that guy. I knew somebody who was in despair, and he came to talk to me when I was 8 years old. And I'm here because of that.
I'll carry your story forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's so special. Thank you very much.
Born in 1928 in Choszów, Poland, Nate Leipziger was separated from his mother and sister who perished in the Holocaust. He and his father survived Auschwitz and 7 other camps. After the war, he built a new life in Canada, dedicating recent decades to ensuring that the memory lives on. Year after year, for more than 2 decades, Nate has returned to Auschwitz-Birkenau. This is his 22nd March of the Living. Here in the barracks of Birkenau, as a survivor and an educator, he has shared his story with thousands of students, entrusting them with a responsibility to carry the story forward to future generations when the last survivors are gone. Nate will light the torch of the next generation along with students from the March of the Living, Canada.
"83 years ago, I stood in this very camp as a 15-year-old boy, deprived of my freedom, of my youth, watching the crematoria here and there as they were spewing out flames, ashes of my murdered family and million others, millions of innocent people. We were not supposed to come back, but by grace of God, we are here. Look at us. We were victims of the greatest deception of all times. When we found out what was intended, many of our youth rose up and fought valiantly in ghettos of Białystok and Warsaw. Yet millions went to their death. But no more. Now, when a tyrant is threatening us, we will not be deceived. We will not be victims again. We have Israel, to fight for us and with us. We will be victorious. Am Israel High.
My name is Liz, and I'm the proud mother of the child you just saw in the video. Nate, it's an honor to know you. Thank you for sharing your story with the next generation.
Thank you. Thank you for giving my regards to your daughter. The leaders of our nation.
אולי נגיד שנולדתי במקום הלא נכון, בזמן הלא נכון. נולדתי בשם רות בוורשה, 1937. הגרמנים נכנסים לפולין ב-1939 ומגרשים אותנו לגטו ורשה. אמא ואני הולכות לחפש אוכל, אבא נשאר בבית, אנחנו חוזרים, מתקרבים לדירה, ושם מונח על הרצפה אבא שלי, מת. אמא הבינה שאם מישהו בא להרוג אותו, יבואו אחרינו. יום אחד היא נותנת לי את הבובה שלי, את הללצ'קה, הולכים, ופתאום היא נעצרת, פותחת משהו עגול על הרצפה של הגטו, לוקחת אותי, שולחת אותי למטה, קופצת אחריי. ואנחנו נמצאות בביוב של גטו ורשה. אנחנו על 4 כמו חיות. היא דוחפת אותי מאחורה, ופתאום נעצרת, והיא מרימה את היד, מושכת אותי החוצה, ואני מחזיקה את הללצ'קה, ושלושתנו נמצאות בצד השני של ורשה, מגיעים לאיזשהו בית, פותחת ארון, מכניסה אותי עם הללצ'קה בתוך הארון בגובה של 80 סנטימטר, והיא אומרת לי את הדבר הבא: אני אוהבת אותך יותר מאשר העולם ומלואו. את תשבי פה כאן עם הללצ'קה שלך, ואני אביא לך אוכל, אבל את לא תבקשי אותי, את לא תבכי, ואם תתנהגי יפה, כל זה ייגמר מהר ונצא לשחק לגינה. ואני נחשבת בהיסטוריה של השואה כילדה במחבוא. אני צועדת בשם אותם 1.5 מיליון ילדים שלא יכולים לצעוד. השנה אני אלך עם הבן שלי. זה הניצחון שלי על היטלר.
Our next torch is the torch of strength, dedicated to the strength of the Jewish people and the state of Israel. I am honored to call to the stage Holocaust survivor Irene Shashar, the little girl who survived the war by hiding in darkened cupboards in Warsaw, and who later emerged to rediscover the light of life. Irene marched last year with Agam Berger, who was serving in an Israeli army post along the border with Gaza when it was attacked by Hamas terrorists on October the 7th. Many of her fellow soldiers were killed, and Agam was abducted to the Gaza Strip. She was held hostage for 482 days. Today they marched together again, along with former hostage Omri Niran, who was kidnapped from his home on kibbutz Nachal Oz and held in Gaza for more than 2 years before finally being released to rejoin his wife and 2 small daughters. Joining them is the rabbi of the Israeli military delegation, Major Shmuel Slotky. On October the 7th, his sons Ishai and Noam reached kibbutz Salomim and fought courageously against dozens of heavily armed terrorists, blocking their way to the kibbutz fence and preventing a massacre. Tragically, both of Rabbi Slotky's sons lost their lives. Staff Sergeant Yishai left behind his wife and a 6-week-old daughter.
שמי איירין ששאו, ואני מתרגשת מאוד להיות היום כאן. ימים אחרי הפסקת האש בישראל, היו אמורים להיות כאן היום עוד 50 שורדי שואה מישראל, יחד עם מאות מאנשי ההייטק הישראלים, שבזכותם אני, שורדי השואה הישראלים, נמצאים כאן. מפה אני שולחת ברכה לאחיי ואחיותיי השורדים מישראל שלא יכלו להגיע, לאנשי ההייטק היקרים, אבל נצעד ביחד כמו גדולים וחזקים יותר בשנה הבאה. מהטרגדיה של 7 באוקטובר 2023, דרך המלחמה עם איראן ושלוחותיה, ידעה מדינת ישראל תקופה ארוכה וכאובה של עימות והמשך. ולמרות הכל, אנחנו עומדים כאן זקופים וגאים. זה הרווח שלנו והרוח שלנו. אנחנו בוחרים בחיים, וזה מה שאנחנו ומי שאנחנו. 50 more Holocaust survivors from Israel were meant to be with us here today, along with hundreds of people from the world of Israeli high-tech who founded and fund until today our journey. My heart is with my brothers and my sisters, the Israeli Holocaust survivors and high-tech representatives who weren't able to come, in hope of marching together next year. from the tragedy of October 7th, 2023, to the war with Iran and its proxies, Israel has endured a long and painful period of conflict. Yet, despite everything, we stand here, proud and tall. That is our spirit. We are dedicated to life. That is simply who we are.
אני אגם ברגר, בדרך אמונה בחרתי. האמונה ששמרה עליי בימים של פחד וחוסר ודאות בשבי החמאס. האמונה שהטוב ינצח. נצח ישראל לא ישקר. עם ישראל חי וקיים לנצח.
I, Omri Miran, was abducted from my home on Kibbutz Nachal Oz and held hostage for 738 days. I light this torch in memory of Jews murdered in the Holocaust and in memory of more than 1,400 men, women and children slaughtered by Islamic terrorists on October 7th. Yehi zichram baruch leolam vaed. Amen.
As a rabbi and a commander in Israeli army's rivers, accompanying the IDF delegation to the March of the Living, I light this torch as a father grieving for his sons and as a great-grandson of a large family that perished in this land and in this place. I know you join me in praying for the safety of all members of the Israel Defense Forces and a successful military operation.
I am proud and moved together with you to light this torch in the name of the State of Israel. Whose people are the epitome of human strength and dignity. Despite all obstacles, our will and our spirit carry us forward forever, evermore.
In such trying times for the security of Israel and the Jewish people, we draw inspiration from the partisans, amongst the bravest of the brave, who fought the Nazis with courage and conviction. Holocaust survivor Naftali Fürst, who believed he would not be able to be here today, asked that the partisan song be performed here. Naftali, in the end, is here with us, together with 10 other survivors from Israel, and on their behalf, we dedicate the partisan song to all survivors who could not be with us. We echo the words of the song, "Umitzadenu od yarim," anachnu po. And as we march still roaring, we are here. Even in times like these, we are here. The song of the partisans will be sung by Lieutenant Colonel Shai Abramson.
אל נא תאמר, הנה דרכי האחרונה. את אור היום הסתירו שמי העננה. זה יום נחשפנו לו, עוד יעלה ויבוא. ומצעדנו עוד ירעים, אנחנו פה. זה יום נחשפנו לו, עוד יעלה ויבוא. ומצעדנו עוד ירים, אנחנו פה. Sag nicht kein Mal, als du gehst dem letzten Weg. Chod stimmen bleiene, verstellen bläuete. Kommen wird noch unser ausgebänkte Show. Es wird apoikt an unser Trof mit seinen Do. Kommen wird noch unser ausgebänkte Show. Se wird apoikt an unser Trott mit seinen Do. בכתב הדם והעופרת הוא נכתב הוא לא שירת ציפור הדרור והמרחב כי בין קירות נופלים שרו כל העם יחדיו שרו ונגנים בידם כי בין קירות נופלים שרו כל העם יחדיו שרו ונגנים בידם. This is a special song and a special moment. I want you to join me in this last sentence all together. זה יום נחשפנו לו, עוד יעלה ויבוא. עוד מצעדנו עוד ירים, אנחנו פה.
יער
6 memorial torches have already been lit. Now we light a 7th torch, symbolizing our rebirth. From the forests of Europe, where Jews took refuge to save their lives, to the forests of modern Israel that symbolize renewal in our ancestral homeland, we have journeyed from Holocaust to rebirth. KKL, the Jewish National Fund, has played a major role in shaping that transition, transforming once barren reaches into fertile green expanses and helping build today's state of Israel. Since before the establishment of the state, KKL has been a partner in developing the land of Israel, purchasing lands that would become a home for Jews around the world, including some 400,000 Holocaust survivors, establishing 1,000 communities, building reservoirs and developing water sources for agriculture, establishing schools, planting more than 240 million trees in new forests, and creating cultural and recreational facilities. As our strategic partners for many years, KKL, the Jewish National Fund, has traditionally lit the torch of Tkuma, of rebirth. This year, they were unable to join us due to the war, but they are with us in heart and in spirit and will be marching with us next year. They play a leading role in the second half of the March of the Living, the journey to Israel, to mark Memorial Day for the fallen of the IDF and the celebrations of Israel's Independence Day. KKL is giving concrete expression to the vision of its founder, Theodor Herzl. Through Jewish and Zionist education in communities around the world, annual delegations to Israel, and broad-based fundraising, KKL plays a vital role in strengthening the ties between Israel and world Jewry. From October the 7th, 2023 until today, KKL has increased aid for the rehabilitation of destroyed communities in the Gaza envelope area. Under its new leadership, led by Chairman Eyal Ostrinsky, it is providing massive aid to frontline communities, providing emergency assistance throughout the country. To light the torch of rebirth, I call upon the Vice Chairman of the International March of the Living, Avi Dickstein. He is joined by Holocaust survivor Sammy Steigman. Born in 1939 in Chernovich, Romania, from 1941 through 1944, Sammy and his parents were interned in a labor camp in Transnistria in the Ukraine. Sammy was subjected to Nazi medical experimentation and has felt the side effects every single day of his life. After liberation, he emigrated to Israel, served in the Israeli Air Force, and later moved to the United States. Avi is accompanied by 2 Israeli students, Dror Cohen and Korel Eliyahu.
שלום, ערב טוב. לפיד התקומה, לפיד מדינת ישראל. החלום שלי היה להגיע לארץ ישראל, לבנות מדינה יהודית ולחיות בה כאדם חופשי במדינה עצמאית. כך אמר ניצול השואה חיים הרשקוביץ, בודפשט, הונגריה. My dream was to reach out the land of Israel, to create an independent Jewish land, and to live there as a free Jew, a survivor by the name Chaim Hershkovich from Hungary. Many Holocaust survivors, like Chaim, who emerged from the ashes of Europe, did more, much more, than rebuild their lives. They helped build a nation. They fought, those survivors, for the establishment of the State of Israel, and they played an important and a vital role in shaping it into the strong and resilient country we all know today. KKL had planted 6 million trees in martyrs' trees in the mountains of Jerusalem. Each tree is a living tribute to those who perished, to those who lost their lives during the Holocaust. The first tree was planted by Otto Frank the father of Anna Frank. We all know Anna Frank as a symbol of hope, a symbol of new life, and a symbol of renewed Jewish spirit in our nation, in our homeland. Sami, my friend, I am honored to stand with you here in Birkenau, representing a generation whose courage and determination laid the foundation of our future. As we all look ahead into the future, we remain mindful of the challenges facing Israel, facing the Jewish nation, facing us. Yet, from the depth of destruction, we have built a remarkable Zionist state, a society rooted in hope, strength, and renewal. The State of Israel stands as a testament to the Jewish resilience, a Jewish value, a promise that from loss we will rise, from darkness we shall build, and from memory we will continue to choose. We shall march again and again and again, and we shall go from strength to strength. מצעדנו עוד ירים, אנחנו פה, היינו פה, נהיה פה, נלך מחיל אל חיל. לשנה הבאה כולנו בירושלים, עם ישראל חי.
Hi everybody, Shalom Uvracha. As a Holocaust survivor, a proud IDF veteran, I am extremely honored to be here. And all the young people that I see here, they are my hope, our hope as a matter of fact, because I'm speaking on behalf of all of the survivors and everybody that is here. Okay, they are our hope in our future. The world is yours. Make it a better one. And recently we celebrated Passover. And there is a passage in the Haggadah that says that in every generation, they try to annihilate us. Many civilizations disappeared. We prevailed. Into the world, in the name of everybody here, I have a very strong message. We are here to stay, whether you like it or not. Am Israel Chai. Am Israel Chai. Am Israel Chai.
As the years pass, fewer Holocaust survivors remain to tell of their experiences and their survival. Hearing personal testimony of survivors transfers the responsibility of memory to each of us, compelling us to remember the past as we face the future. Elie Wiesel, may his memory be a blessing, survived the Holocaust and went on to become a Nobel Prize laureate. Marching with us in 1990, he defined the mission of the International March of the Living, saying, when you listen to a witness, you become a witness. By listening and learning, we ensure the survival of memory and hope for the future. Joining us on stage now, reflecting Elie's historic words and embracing the mantle of leadership, are representatives of the next generation. Students from Los Angeles, Marigold Goldie Marmur, Jax Klein, Paradise Kohanim, Chloe Conroy, and Evan Claristenfeld.
The story must be told again and again, because the world must never be allowed to forget.
Memory must travel from generation to generation, or it will disappear.
Every generation must take upon itself the responsibility of remembering.
The witnesses are leaving us. Soon there will be no one left to say, I was there. Then it will be up to you.
If we forget, the past will vanish. If we remember, we give the victims a voice.
We heard the witnesses, now we are the witnesses.
In times like these, when anti-Semitism threatens Jewish communities globally, your commitment takes on added significance. You symbolize the torchbearers of the past and embody those of the future. As the members of generations past, present and future, all of us here represent the human spirit and the determination to thrive. May we march together from strength to strength in hopeful pursuit of a better tomorrow. Hope is the source of our strength. Ladies and gentlemen, hope. Hatikva, please rise.
כל עוד בלבב פנימה נפש יהודי הומייה ולפתי מזרח קדימה עין לציון צופיה עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים.
I'd like to thank all of our honored guests during this special broadcast as we witness the thousands of people, including Holocaust survivors, commemorate 81 years since the liberation of the Nazi concentration camps, as well as the rebirth of the Jewish state of Israel nearly 78 years ago. I'm Erin Viner, broadcasting live from the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camps. Shalom.